The hedgerows of Normandy had become a nightmare for the American First Army by mid-July 1944 after weeks of brutal close-quarters fighting. Following the 6th of June landings progressed ground to a halt in the dense bocage country west of Saint-Lay, where narrow lanes, sunken roads, and thick earthen banks created natural fortresses for the defenders. Lieutenant General Omar Bradley, commander of the United States First Army, faced a stalemate, his troops pinned down by German defenses that turned every field into a killing ground. Bradley devised Operation Cobra, a bold plan to smash through the German line west of Saint-Lay using overwhelming air power to substitute massive bombardment for prolonged infantry assaults. Target zone lay along the Saint-Lay to Perriers Road, a narrow rectangle roughly 6 kilometers long and 2 kilometers deep, held primarily by Lieutenant General Fritz Bayerlein's Panzer Lehr Division, one of the Wehrmacht's premier armored units. Though badly depleted after transfers from the British sector around Cannes and earlier fighting, Bayerlein, a veteran of North Africa under Rommel, believed his division still formidable despite losses, positioned his remaining Panthers, Panzer IVS assault guns, and Panzer grenadiers in depth, using the hedgerows for concealment and camouflage. His men dug in deeply, expecting another grinding American push, not the apocalypse from above. Weather-delayed Cobra, repeatedly poor visibility forcing postponements from the 18th of July onward. On the 24th of July, over 300 heavy bombers struck prematurely when recall orders failed to reach all units, dropping hundreds of tons on the target, but also short, causing friendly fire that killed dozens of Americans and wounded hundreds more enraging ground troops who fired at their own aircraft. Bradley, furious at the perpendicular bombing approach that contributed to the errors, insisted on proceeding the next day, the 25th of July, when skies cleared. American units pulled back 1,200 yards from the road as over 1,500 B-17 and B-24 flying fortresses from the 8th Air Force, supported by medium bombers and fighter bombers, prepared to unleash hell. At 9:40 in the morning, the onslaught began. Fighter bombers strafed forward positions. Then the heavies arrived in waves, dropping over 3,000 tons of high explosives and fragmentation bombs, followed by nearly 1,000 more tons from mediums, creating a carpet that saturated the zone with 5,000 bombs per square kilometer from his command post. Bayerlein watched the sky darken with aircraft. The bombers came as if on a conveyor belt back and forth. The carpets were laid. Artillery positions wiped out tanks, overturned and buried infantry positions, flattened all roads and tracks, destroyed the ground, shook violently. Fountains of earth erupted hundreds of feet high. A pall of dust and smoke blotted out the sun, turning day into twilight. The shock effect proved indescribable. Many German soldiers emerged from foxholes. Dazed, numb, or crazed survivors described the landscape transformed into a moonscape, craters overlapping craters, hedgerows obliterated, vehicles flung like toys, command posts demolished, communication severed. Panzer Lehr bore the brunt, already reduced to around 2,200 combat troops and fewer than 30 operational tanks. The division suffered over 1,000 casualties. In that hour alone, tanks and assault guns buried or destroyed headquarters records lost. Bayerlein reported his elite unit finally annihilated, its armor wiped out, personnel dead, wounded, or missing. Yet not all bombs fell perfectly. Again, some drifted north due to wind and smoke, killing over 100 Americans, including Lieutenant General Leslie McNair, the highest-ranking officer lost in the European theater, and wounding hundreds more despite the tragedy. Bradley ordered the ground assault. Forward at 11 o'clock, American infantry advanced crater to crater through the devastated zone, meeting scattered resistance from stunned survivors, but fierce artillery from unscathed units farther back. The initial gains measured only a mile or two. German remnants of Panzer Lehr regrouped with around 45 armored vehicles, offering stubborn defense. By Nightfall on the 25th of July, the breakthrough remained incomplete. American commanders worried the massive bombardment had not fully suppressed resistance yet. German prisoners spoke of utter shock. The bombing unhinged their defenses, morale shattered, coordination broken as the dust settled. The stage set for exploitation. Dawn on the 26th of July 1944 brought renewed American pressure as the 7th Corps and 8th Corps pushed south through the bomb zone. The cratered terrain hindered tanks and vehicles, turning the moonscape into an obstacle for attackers, but German defenses, already fractured, could mount only patchy resistance. Barely exhausted and demoralized, struggled to rally. His shattered division survivors filtered rearward, many without weapons. The once invincible Panzer Lehr reduced to fragments, its commander reporting 70% of personnel out of action, the bombing accounting for half the losses. American divisions exploited relentlessly. The 9th Infantry Division on the left advanced toward Marigny, the 4th and 30th Infantry in the center, while armored columns prepared to pour through gaps. The 2nd Armored Division and 3rd Armored Division stood ready to exploit any breach. By the 27th of July, momentum built. Organized German resistance crumbled. Panzer Lehr's remnants scattered counterattacks by elements of the 2nd SS Panzer Division Das Reich and 17th SS Panzergrenadier Division proved desperate and ineffective. American armor surged forward, capturing St. Gilles and threatening Coutances. The breakthrough widened rapidly. On the 28th of July, the 4th Armored Division, entering combat for the first time, raced south, capturing Coutances despite opposition east of the town. German units from multiple divisions sought escape but found themselves encircled or cut off. American progress accelerated 10 kilometers in places. The hedgerow nightmare ended as forces emerged into open rolling countryside, ideal for mechanized warfare. Bradley activated the Third Army under Lieutenant General George Patton, poised to exploit toward Brittany and beyond. German 7th Army under Paul Hauser collapsed across the front. Reserves depleted by commitments around Cannes left no force capable of sealing the breach. Field Marshal Gunther von Kluge, desperate, shifted units westward, but too late. The American tide overwhelmed them. The 31st of July Cobra achieved total success. Avranches fell, opening the gateway to Brittany and interior France. German losses mounted. Thousands captured vehicles, abandoned. The Wehrmacht's finest units like Panzer Lehr effectively destroyed, proving American industrial might and air power could overwhelm courage and tactics. The Normandy front shattered, leading directly to the Falaise pocket and liberation of France. Material superiority replaced attrition with maneuver. Modern wars lesson etched in the craters west of St. Lô. Sources: Wikipedia article on Operation Cobra, U.S. Army official history accounts, Warfare History Network. Articles on Operation Cobra and Panzer Lehr Division. Post-war interrogations and memoirs of Fritz Bayerlein as quoted in multiple historical sources including Warfare History Network and U.S. Army Center of Military History. D-Day Overlord, detailed timeline and unit accounts.